Welcome back. I know. It's been a long, long time. I do apologize for the wait. I had to spruce up the place a bit, get ready for next time I knew you'd be coming around. I suppose you're here for another story, huh? Let's do a new one. Oh, we've got our old favorites, don't worry. They haven't finished their adventures just yet, but I think something new for you. Celebrate our grand reopening. Continuing the dance. A brand new world. Brand new heroes. Let's see what awaits. We find ourselves in the world of Amoth, a beautiful, bright speck in a swirl, an unending galaxy. We find ourselves in the continent of Odos, a world racked and recovering from pain, torture, slavery, death, and war has emerged into a golden age free of suffering and growing into something that, upon creation, no one could have imagined. 100 years gone from the end of the War of the Dragons, society is rebuilt. People have returned to places long thought dead. A new world has been born from the ashes of the old. The Empire of Mercia has risen strong on the continent, providing safety and security for the shattered realms that remained here after the fall of the great dragons Metalis and Chroma. Across the shattered sea, the kingdom of Yve, a Dwelvish kingdom, has emerged from its both isolation and enslavement by the dragons to grow and change and rebuild their societies in ways that could never have been dreamed of. The island of Arda, home for the mercenary and merchant syndicates, one of the few last dark and dangerous places of the world. Those are all places to find down the road. For now, we return ourselves to the Empire of Mercia, to a small spa town on the edge of a woods and the crystal reservoir of Evercrown. A brand new town built from the ruins of the war that preceded it, known for its natural hot springs, and a jewel of the Mercian Empire. But not all is well within this tiny, relaxed town as we turn to a dark dungeon cell. Well, less of a dungeon cell, but more of a drunk tank of sorts. Finian, you awake in a cold, slightly damp cell. You reach up, you touch the back of your head, and you feel a welt starting to swell there. You kind of sit yourself up on the damp straw bed you were laying upon. I'd like you to describe yourself, please.
First of all, I'm a halfling. I am, relatively average height for a halfling. Probably 5'2". Actually, how tall are halflings? And now I'm like being an idiot.
Halflings top out at like 4 feet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, fucking monstrously tall.
You would be a giant among halflings.
I'm pretty average.
Holy
I'm
shit.
5'2". Sir, I don't think you're a halfling.
Yeah,
Sir, I think you're a human.
You're getting into dwarf territory at that point. Like the tallest dwarf ever, mind you. Yeah,
oh god,
halflings will top out at about like 3.5, 4 feet tall.
Let me just restart all of that.
Welcome everybody, we're back.
I'm pretty average.
Starting off with
a
a bang.
I'm
We know what
tall.
we're doing.
I don't know. Like, look, I don't know what.
This is my character, Superman. He's like 10 feet tall, pretty average.
Also, he's completely indestructible.
As one is, casually.
We are like 5 minutes in. This is great. It's like we never left. Finian.
Hi. All right, we're just gonna go. I'm not used to playing short characters. Yeah, we're gonna go with about 3'7". There we go. That
all right.
That seems adequate.
3'7". Very nice.
Good
knee height.
Short, kind of curly-ish brown hair, like, and kind of trying to think of like how. It's honestly pretty standard. Like when you think of that, like a little bit shorter in the front, where it kind of like, and it's just it's not like long, but it doesn't really go past like his neck.
It's the growing stage. It's like a curly growing stage.
It's that like growing stage. Hazel eyes. He did, which I'm sure has been taken from him, a kind of like a brown, it's not like a trench coat, it's just more of like a
like a jacket almost.
It is like a jacket, but it has a lot of almost like a lot of pockets, a lot of like pouches and things like that built into the jacket for tools
like
and other
duster,
things.
right?
Huh?
Like a duster or a bomber jacket.
Kind of like a bomber jacket, but it's always it's not like closed. It's more like worn open with a but it's like very thick. Like it's almost like armor, like grade leather.
Yeah, no, that has definitely been taken from you. You're just kind of in your tunic, your pants, your shoes.
Yeah. And like the rest of it is like, boots, gloves, pretty much a dark, almost kind of like olive green pants. Like very but on the more on like the darker side. Usually wears a black shirt underneath. And then brown boots and brown gloves.
Okay. Your gloves have been taken from you, but everything else remains. You look around this cell. It's about, it's definitely more of a holding cell of some kind, probably about like 20 feet by 10 feet, like wider than it is tall. You can see a couple of other figures in here. You see a curled up figure to your right, and one a little bit further down to your left, closer to the actual bars of the cage. You kind of rub the sleep and concussion out of your eyes, and you kind of take in your surroundings. You've been around enough to know what a drunk take looks like when you see it. What would you like to do?
Oh, my head. Oh, Okay, maybe that was a bit much for the first time out. Kind of just looking around. Who else is in the cell with me? Again?
You see a average-sized, like sort of humanoid shape, to your right, and you see another average-sized humanoid shape to your left, kind of like tucked against the cells, but they're a little bit larger, a little bit taller, certainly, even for like your stature. You're used to humans, but this one's a bit taller even for you. And you finally notice, because you hadn't seen them from the waist down the previous evening, you notice some fur and hooves in their lower half. And with that, Theodosia, you begin to stir. Would you please describe what you look like?
Do you describe Theodosia as the tall one?
I mean, tall for a halfling.
Oh, yeah, because she's like 5'4".
I mean, that's very tall for a halfling.
Oh, she's not a halfling.
No,
Oh,
for him.
For him, yeah. You want me to describe her?
Please describe what Theodosia looks like as she starts to rouse.
Theodosia is a satyr. She's a unicorn satyr. So one of the first things you'll notice is a black horn coming out of her forehead, just unicorn horn. She has fairly pale skin, like she looks like she probably doesn't see the sunlight much, but you don't know that. You don't know what she's up to. She's got dark jet black hair that looks like it's usually supposed to be tied back in like a fairly tight bun, like freshly out of her face. But after the events of the previous evening, it's clearly been tousled a bit. The whatever band is keeping it up is still there, but it's definitely been messed up. Was any armor taken off her? Were all their armor taken?
Armor and weaponry was stripped from you.
Okay.
But you still have your clothing. So like clothes underneath, a gambeson or like any sort of like that would still be there.
Yeah, and she's got her attire seems to be themed in dark, cool tones. So she looks like she's wearing probably a purple gambeson or something, and something around her. She's got some like, I guess capris, because they don't go all the way down, but they're not exactly booty shorts. And they're
probably to like upper thigh, right before you get to the knees, with like the articulating
Bike
legs.
shorts.
Yeah. She's just the shorts that you wear to school when they go, put your hands down to see if they're gonna, go past your fingertips. Because middle school dress code is amazing.
Yes, of course.
But and she's got light gray eyes and she's also got her ears are like little fawn ears. They're black, just the fur on them are black, just like her hair. They kind of hang low down, but they're big and.
All right. Theodosia, you begin to stir. You feel a large bump on the back of your head.
Black fur on her leggies. Black leggy fur and her little black hooves.
You begin to stir, and you kind of like you shake your head awake a little bit, and you feel like you kind of lift your head up and like you wince, and you feel like that movement was just a little too fast, and you feel the bump on the back of your head. It's like, oh, right. Your forehead's a little sore as well from your previous evening's activities.
The headbutt. Christ.
And you wake up to see this a familiar-looking halfling kind of just looking at you from across the cell.
She kind of like gives him a grimace. That worked out well. Fuck. She's looking around. Fuck.
You both notice the Theodosia, you know where you are.
Yeah, and she knows where she is. And so fuck.
You both look. Oh, you both kind of like meet eyes for a moment, and then like almost simultaneously, just as the third figure is starting to stir. Your eyes, both your heads just kind of like slowly turn as Felix. You could please, as you begin to rouse, please describe what you look like.
Felix is a human male, probably 5'10-ish. Wavy blonde hair, like ash blonde, that's like not quite shoulder length, but like longer.
Long enough
Usually
to put up.
like, yes, exactly. And usually like tied half back to keep it out of his face. Purple eyes. And what he's wearing, I'm imagining like puffy white poet shirt and then like tight black pants, like Howl's Moving Castle when he takes the coat off. Like some boots with it. He looks nice. Like his clothes are nicer quality, but they're also just kind of like worn to shit. Like at one point they were probably pretty nice, and they might have just been worn for like 6 months straight, so now it's seen better days.
All right. You begin to stir, and you see two familiar faces from the previous evening as you reach up to the side of your head and you pull it away, you feel like a little sticky bit of blood, and it's like, oh, right, that's what happened last night. And you all come to, just kind of staring each other down in a little bit of a triangle, almost like a certain Spider-Man meme, just sort of looking at each other inside of this cell. Felix, you've been in your fair share of drunk tanks. You know exactly where you are.
Oh yeah.
And if all three of you, if you look across the cell to the adjoining area of this holding cell, you can see another one almost exactly the same as you, and you can see 4 or 5 sleeping figures or passed out figures that you all recognize from your scrap the previous evening. You're muted, Alex.
Are they in like the adjacent cell then?
Basically, there's like a hallway running down the center, and then there's 2 of these like sort of like large holding cells on either side.
Oh, okay.
So you guys are separated in separate cells, but you can like see each other across the way.
Are there any rocks in our cell? Like small, like pebble kind of thing?
Absolutely. You kind of scrounge around, you find a little loose pebble here and there. I'll say you've gathered up like 2 or 3.
I'm gonna throw one at one of the dwarves in the opposite cell.
Okay. Please roll an attack.
Yeah.
First roll of campaign 2.
I rolled a 14. What am I adding to this?
It would be. Are you proficient in improvised weapons?
Fuck no.
Okay. So just be plus dex.
Plus dex. That is 17.
Okay, that absolutely hits. They don't have any armor on. Roll me 1d4. Pebbles do 1d4 damage.
1.
Okay, you kind of like you kind of like get it like a marble on your thumb, and you kind of like flick it, and you watch as it lands like perfectly like between the eyes of one of the sleeping dwarves, and you watch as his head like snaps back in his sleep. And he's like, ugh! They're fucking coming for us, boys! And he stands up and sprints into the wall and like hits his head and like falls back over, passed out again. And with that loud noise, all 3 of you hear 2 things. One is they all start to kind of like stir and like groan themselves awake in the other cell. And you start to hear at least 3 floors above you, because it's wooden ceilings. You start to hear the sound of footsteps coming down the stairs.
Karma's a real bitch, huh?
All of he's knocked out cold. All of them the rest of them are all kind of just like waking up and groaning. No one's really noticed you yet. So the 3 of you are the only ones who are really awake at the moment.
I'm just gonna lean back against whatever like wall is closest and get comfortable, because I know we're probably gonna be here for a bit.
Theodosia, on the other hand, she like the second she hears like sounds up above, like someone's about to come down, she quickly is like facing away from the cell door, like her back to the door, kind of just trying to hide her face, doing the thing where her head's a little down. She's got her hands like this. It's probably not working out great because she's got like that massive horn in the way. She's, a unicorn satyr, so it's like, yes.
Be
my identity
inconspicuous.
is so hidden right now.
Uh-huh.
But she's just like still like very like fuck.
Finn, what are you doing?
Kind of he sees the incident with Felix and just kind of chuckles. And just kind of like does the whole like hands behind his back and just leans back because he's smart enough to know that like he's not really gonna go anywhere, but as long as he doesn't do anything dumb, anything more dumb, he'll probably be fine. He just needs to just wait it out.
All right. You guys wait for a few moments. And then arriving is another halfling dressed in armor that you would all recognize of the city guard of Evercrown. It's like a mail shirt with a bit of a leather gambeson over the top with the city's crest, which is a little mountain with a waterfall running out of it. She stands about 3'8", dark skin, sort of like sandy brown blonde hair, and very, very bright blue, almost cyan eyes. Sort of like a bit of like an oval shaped face, but absolutely like gorgeous, like kind of like shocking. It's like for how pretty this guard is. And she kind of like walks down. She's got a clipboard in her hands, and she kind of like she like kind of walks down to this like the entry of the actual place itself. And she turns to everyone and goes, "Right, what have you lot brought for me today?" And she turns to the dwarves first, and it's like, "Fenris, we've talked about this. You can't be going picking fights just because you can't pay for drinks again, lad." All the gang of dwarves starts like groaning and moaning. He's like, shut your yappers. She turns to the rest of you, and she looks at you. It's like, "And ye three, well," and she kind of like flips her clipboard up, and it's like, "Got a Finian Fiarbrook? Felix
Felbrook.
Well, don't write your name when you're drunk and or concussed, lad. A Felix Faircourt," and she stops for a moment and kind of like, "Teo?" She turns. She hasn't been like looking at anything. She's been looking at her clipboard. She turns and sees you, Theodosia. "Hi, T. What you doing in my drunk tank?"
That is an amazing question.
It rather is, isn't it?
I was defending this gentleman over here, and they put me in here for trying to do the right thing, I guess.
Right, the right thing. Of course, you're so well known for doing the right thing, aren't you? Well, good for you lot. And she starts addressing all three of you. No reports have been filed yet, so there's a chance we can work this out like civilized folk. So, she pulls out a key, unlocks the door. "If the three of you would be so kind as to follow me, that would be grand and appreciated." And she kind of stands there waiting to see if you guys will, you get the feeling that she's waiting to see if it's like, she's waiting to see if you guys have actually sobered up yet, or if she's gonna have to fight you guys upstairs.
Finian kind of does like he's like lying back and he just kind of like does the kind of because he's pretty nimble. He does like kind of just like he pushes, he kips like he does like the kip up and just stands up on his feet and he's like kind of like cracks his neck on either side and stretches a bit and goes, all right, let's go.
She eyes you up and down. It's like, look, I might be young, but I wasn't born yesterday, lad. Up and at 'em.
Theodosia's.
Was she looking at? Was she talking to me?
She's talking to you.
I just did. I'm very confused.
Roll. Actually, this is one of the first few things. What's your insight modifier? I get to roll these now.
Oh, that's right.
I have a +1 to insight. I'm not very insightful on people. I'm very naive. That is my.
With the tone she strikes, you get the feeling that it's not unusual because she's very pretty. Like again, like when you're talking, it's like it'd be like almost like if like a supermodel was a guard. It's like she's very, very pretty. So it's like you get the feeling that every single person who she has to deal with tries to hit on her. So she's just assuming like, it's like, okay, so like you were in the drunk tank, you've done this nimble acrobatic sort of, aha, look at me. And it's like, no, on your fucking way. I'm not sleeping with you.
It's just, what do you want? I just got up and whatever.
She kind of looks you up and down. Is like, oh shit, okay, you're not a complete asshole. Sorry about that. It's just most fuckers here. And she like walks over to the other cell and like kicks one of the dwarves, especially this one. Always try to hit on me when they come out of the drunk tank, as though they get more charming when they're hungover.
Kind of like he's still a little bit like, because he's just not used. He doesn't really. It's not a thing he thinks about. Like he's. Oh. No, I gentlemen all the way. Kind of gives her like a bit of an awkward salute because he's awkward as hell.
Oh, this is very cute. All right then, and Felix gets to his feet.
All right, she leads you up the stairs, up 2 flights into what looks to be like an office, sort of like an office area. Having now gone up the stairs, you can tell that this is very much a like guard outpost more than anything. It's not even like the proper city jail. Looks like this is just kind of a storage place and a processing sort of area. It's quintessentially just a drunk tank. She sits down at a rather messy looking desk, shuffles some papers around. You can see like a lockup behind her that goes, and she kind of like ruffles through some papers. It's like, right, so we have reports from last night of a bit of a bar fight. When we arrived, we found the 3 of you engaged in the roughest of the melee, and looks over at Theodosia. As impressive as that was, we unfortunately have to now deal with the consequences. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume, and like looks at all 3 of you, self-defense.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I'm sure Felix and I'm sure that their lot down there are going to say the exact same thing. So I'm going to skip the formalities and we're going to move right along to how we rectify the situation. Does that sound good?
Your Honor, hey, look, I am but a humble bard.
My coin purse. What am I supposed to do? Just take it? Like, look, I know they're bigger than me. I'm not going to stand for constantly being told that I'm tiny, I'm small. People always think they can take advantage of me. I'm done with it. And just because there's a bunch of them doesn't mean I'm just going to let them steal from me. So I didn't.
She's like, you watch as she's taking notes, like, right, so self-defense then. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you lads. Fenris is a known troublemaker. We know he's a known troublemaker. Here's the problem. The bartender, the tavern owner, is the one making the complaint. So everyone's at fault here. You did break a couple of his chairs over old Fenris's back there. And that does need to be replaced in some way, shape, or form.
Pay for a few chairs.
Right. The problem is that to pay for the chairs, you would need money. And a lot of you, kind of like, especially looking over at Felix, doesn't look like you've got much of a coin to rub between the two of you. Now, I will work, looks specifically at you, Finn, I will work on getting whatever coin they might have stolen back from you. I still have to work on that lot down there. But until then, she pulls out like a large, like slams a binder down on the table. To avoid actual charges, there's a bit of community service you'll need to be doing. Don't give me that look, T.
For those listening at home, I made a face. I made a very offended face on Theodosia's behalf. Me.
No, just the other two. We definitely give special treatment here when it comes to those who, rough up the law. No, you're free to go, T. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Fine, whatever. As long as... Whatever, fine.
Don't worry, no reports have been filed yet. Should all go well, this will fall off your record in a fortnight once your service is complete.
At that, Theo seems to be a little like, okay, not on the record. Good. And she's nodding like, all right, fine.
You all look at her and you can get you can tell she like this young halfling woman looks exhausted. I'm sorry, Finn, you were about to you had a question.
Speaking of the coin that, may or may not have been stolen, it's pretty easy to find, seeing as that it has he has a one of his not infused items, but like the little like trinkets he can make. He keeps it in the coin pouch just in case it is ever stolen. It hold on, which one is it? It makes it very identifiable. Give me a second and I'll figure out exactly which, just so that like he it makes it so that it's very he can be like, oh yeah, that's totally mine because it has this with it.
I'm interested in knowing what Felix was going to say earlier when he was starting to say, I am but a humble bard.
Now you'll never know.
Demay, which is her name. You see a little name placard on the desk. You see Demay Bophill, Domay Bophill, Demay Bophill, captain of the Evercrown City Guard. You see her kind of like flipping through the binder. It's like, right, Finian, was it?
Yes. And
right.
if you open the pouch, there'll be a very distinctive, you'll hear it in your head, it's not necessarily verbal, but it will identify my pouch as being my coin pouch, and if it is lost or stolen, who to return it to and how to find them.
She gives you like a overly sweet, like saccharine smile. Like just the biggest, like super sweet Valley Girl grin. She turns around, walks to like the lockup behind her, waves a hand in front of it, and you watch as it changes from like what looks to be like an evidence lockup to you see lost and found as it warps over the door. And she opens the door, and even from where you're seeing seated at the desk, you see what looks to be about easily 1,000 leather pouches just kind of sitting in the lost and found. It's like, so I would just have to go through each and every one of them, you see. Is that all you're saying?
Are you saying you don't... Look, are you saying you don't keep evidences and, like, you know, you categorize it by which day it comes in? Did all those come in last night?
Yes. It was a busy night last night. Y'all started a bar fight that spread to another bar. This is the spillover. You should see the county jail right now. And like as you hear the words county jail, or as you hear the words county jail, she like throws a glance back at you, Theo.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Well, this seems like you might need some help then. I would, seeing as I have to do this volunteer service or community service, not involuntary service, as one might put it. I could go through all the pouches for you.
Well, the good news is, lad, we have specific evidence people who will do that. Like I said, you'll receive your pouch back. Don't you worry,
Okay.
we always sort things properly. But until then, she returns to the desk and flips open the binder. You three are lucky. The worst of the assignments have already been handed out. So, on this very special day, the three of you get to choose something to do. You may either head to the lower city docks and help with some cleanup there, some dry dock work that's been going on. You can join yours truly on a lovely little routine patrol around the city as we clean up what remnants of last night's mess there were. Or you can head on down to one of the local food distros and help hand out food to some of the refugees coming from Ardenvale, as they had recently had a small fire on the edge of the God's Wood that has since been contained.
I know something you don't. I know something they will never know.
I mean, that could mean a lot of things.
I'd actually like... I have a bit of interest in learning how the officers go about things. Actually, I'd love to see how you work.
You watch as like the tip of her pen breaks, and it's like,
It's not very interesting.
right, no one ever chooses that.
Trust me, it's not very interesting.
Kind of raises his, like, why? I mean, busting up, people on the street, like picking
It's
up.
a spa town, lad. It's a vacation town. The worst thing that happens is what happened last night. What, you think the worst thing I do is I go around to old lady Fanny's flat, make sure that she realizes, no, it's the wind chimes and not some demon trying to get into her house. Like, that's on my docket for today, and then a bunch of paperwork.
Still? You never know what might happen.
She like looks you up and down. You're the strangest person I have ever met who is not trying to sleep with me. All right, sure, you can come along with that.
Can we do
it's a
separate
group.
assignments?
No, it's a group activity because I have to watch over the three of you. So figure it out amongst yourselves. And she closes the binder, and I'll be downstairs dealing with Fenris for the moment. Don't touch anything. She walks back downstairs with her clipboard, leaving the three of you in this office.
I like how.
Well, we're going to the food bank because I am not cleaning docks. Agreed? Teamwork.
Who the hell made you freaking commander-in-chief?
You were the one who made the decision for everybody just 30 seconds ago.
I didn't know it was for everyone. She kind of said that after I did.
Fair, fine.
Look, I'd rather walk around and see the place and learn about what, learn
It's a
something
small
rather than
town.
go work at some manual labor. Who the hell wants to do that?
The other option is the food one.
Yeah,
We could-
it's the same
instead of
thing.
being
I don't want to be
paraded
moving.
around.
It's food, whatever. Something
What
interesting
kind
could
of
happen.
goddamn bootlicker wants to spend all their time with the guard?
Well, because she's gonna have to watch over us anyway. Why not? Aren't you curious?
Not even slightly.
I'm not at all clear. I know enough. I don't need to. I'm not actually. Actually, now that you mention, no, I'm not. I'm not curious about anything going on in this town.
So ex-guard.
Not exactly.
Military service?
Theo, please roll me a deception check. And then I'm going to. I need. It's a +1. Finn, your insight is +1. Felix,
Yes.
what is yours?
Y'all want to see what
+4.
Karma's? You all want to see what Karma's goddamn portent dice did for me on this fine first rolling day?
Yes.
Oh,
Fuck off.
Karma's here with me today, baby. She's watching over me. She sent that for me. Doug.
She just
Like,
poked her head up.
Mumther, I would like to play the D&D. For those at home, Morgan's dog just like popped in the camera in the best little position to where it looked like it was just a floating head. It's like, Mumther, I roll the dice.
Mumther, I make the insight roll.
He's here with me today.
Get
it
bent.
was a +1 for Finn. Felix, what is your insight?
+4.
+4.
I mean, net 20 is not exactly. It doesn't mean anything outside of combat.
You definitely both pick on, and it's like you definitely mainly pick up on the fact it's like maybe not something to pick at while we're all still nursing concussions, but it's not the whole truth. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? We all officially met 15 minutes ago. Let's maybe not start another fight in our second official meeting.
Anyway, I can guarantee you this town is boring. There's nothing really going on here. And I'd rather not be paraded around like some sort of show pony. She flicks her tail.
You'd all rather sit in a boring ass warehouse doing food things?
I mean, they
Like, I
just
sit
came
in a
back from,
fucking
like,
building
a
all
massive
goddamn
fire.
day. You know, like I gotta work on things. It's fun. It's cool. But I want to get out and see things.
You do realize we're being punished, right? Like, this isn't fun vacation happy time.
Look, I've learned to look at the bright side of things. And hey, yeah,
Why-
we gotta go. We gotta do something. Might as well be
why
on the
not?
move, walking around, seeing the outside. Who knows? Something might happen. But there's less chance of something happening if I'm sitting in a warehouse doing God knows what.
We don't live in a warehouse.
It's a food bank. Where the fuck else would it be?
This is Evercrown. Everything is outside. And these people just came back from, I don't know, a massive fire in Audendale. Like, also, I apologize to everyone at home. This accent is going to fluctuate and change to be from every corner
We're
of the
all
United
American.
Kingdom.
It doesn't really matter.
I know, but
And it's Ardenvale.
Ardenvale. Sorry. They just got back from fire. If you want to brighten a day, brighten theirs. Their homes are burning to the ground.
Excellent point. Are you usually this energetic when you're hungover, or are we just in some fresh hell?
What's hungover?
Jesus Christ.
You'll not drink?
Are you a child? Are you a child?
No, I mean like
Legally,
I've
you have to
never
tell me if
been
you're a child.
hungover. Like I know how to hold my liquor. You all just like are you irresponsible?
Listen, whatever your names are. I
My
will
name's
not
Finn.
be paraded.
Or Finian, whatever, you know. Look,
Perfect.
so so wait, we're going to be we're not just hanging out in some or to be helping people? What the
Yes. That's what she said. These were refugees who are coming back from a massive fire that is, I guess, burning their homes down, and they need food. And they're coming here to Evercrown.
You hear a door slam, and you watch as Demay walks back up. You notice like some of the hairs out of her. Her hair is very much pulled back in like one of those like super tight, gelled down like military style buns, where it's like plastic hair sort of style. You notice like a couple of strands have been like pulled out and are like now kind of like falling in her face like some like anime bangs. You hear the door slam. It's like, right, Fenris, you're gonna be spending the weekend in there. I tried to warn you, but that's what happens. I will, and like you hear like some muffled shouting. It's like, I will break the other hand. Right. And she comes walking back around the corner. Ah, and she like kind of wipes the hair back. One single like alfalfa thing comes springing back out. And it's like, well, that'll be all day. Anywho, have the three of you decided on what you're going to be doing today?
Yes, refugees.
Ah, lovely. They'll love to see some. Well, at least two of you look about as rough as they do. So, let me gather my things, lock things up, and I will take you happily down to the unloading port at the Crystal
First,
Reservoir.
before we do that, our stuff?
Ah, right. Hold on one second. And she walks back to the wall, and you watch as she like twists like an invisible lock, and you watch as the wall like warps again, and you see like something of like a looks like a bit of like a small armory. There's like racks and things like that, and it's like, right, Finian. She grabs a bag, throws it over her shoulder. Felix throws it over her shoulder. And then she walks over to a very ornate and gilded sort of like locker almost. And she like, you watch as she like spins the lock and opens it up. It's like, and of course, T, you. And she very gingerly takes out your equipment. And you all are able to attach it back to you.
Was my loot in the bag?
No, your loot was sitting on a table.
Okay.
It looks clearly strummed.
My boy!
My baby! My boy!
And
Pulling on her
with
chainmail and her tunic.
yeah, you guys all get dressed. You take like 4 or 5 minutes to get dressed, and
got her sledgehammer. No, it's a mall.
and you all walk out the door to a beautiful, bright, sunny day in the town of Evercrown. The air is crisp and warm. There's a slight breeze, probably like a balmy, like 70, 75 or so, like a very just lovely sort of nice day. You're at the top of a hill, so you can kind of see the expanse of the town below you. Small little spires of little beautiful like cobblestone streets. It's like clay topped tiled houses, like very much if you've seen like a Mediterranean spa town, that's Evercrown right there. Anywhere like Cannes, anywhere on the Italian coast, the south of France, southern Spain, like you're right there. You can see just the edge of the Crystal Reservoir, the large lake that the town itself sits on. And it's a clear enough day that you can just see to the other side of the lake, and you can just see some of the spires of Covenheim on the other side, and the Royal Academy of Arcane Arts that kind of hug the edge of the Crystal Reservoir, about probably about like 40, 50 miles or so across the lake. Demay looks at all of you, and it's like, right. Well, welcome. Well, the two of you, welcome to our fine little city. Let's go. And she starts leading you down some cobbled streets. You all take in the town again. Beautiful, gorgeous little spa town. Since most of you arrived in the evening the previous night, you hadn't really seen it in its full beauty and glory, but a wonderful it's a beautiful, crisp little experience. As you're walking through, you see little markets and stalls starting to pop up and open throughout the town itself, and you guys have about like a 10 or 15 minute walk that that culminates kind of down in the central square of the town. I would like everybody to please roll me perception checks as you are walking through the town.
18 plus 3, 21.
Okay, 21,
19.
19.
13.
13. Okay. Finn, you're just kind of enjoying it. It's like you're
Oh,
just,
I'm loving it. I'm just like, I'm looking
just
around, just like, God, this is so fucking cool. Oh, look at that. Oh, well, they got one of those over there.
it's like
wonder if they got-
Dome kind of like looks at you. It's like she's like an inch taller than you. She kind of looks at you and like side eyes you. It's like, you don't get out much, do you, lad?
Look, no. Is that a problem? This is nice. I finally get to see it. Like, look, I've been cooped up for a while.
Sorry, it's just I rarely meet someone who's genuine, I guess. It's nice, I suppose. Felix and Theodosia, you guys just you hear the chatter of the streets and things like that. And you pick up like a couple of you hear like bits and pieces of chatter. The main thing you guys kind of hear and like that everyone's sort of talking about is there's like rumors of some magical item theft that's been going around, which is odd because magical items are like magical items aren't usually like, you know, targets of thievery just because they're so easy to obtain. Like in terms of like there's so much stuff around after the war, the breaking of the world seed, and just the general like magical nature of Amoth that it's like, people are stealing shit. That's weird. The walk concludes. You guys arrive down and you see stretched out before you. A crowd of what looks to be about 150 people, all like kind of milling about. Like there's like some small bits of order, like some lines are starting to form. And then you see as several carts roll up laden with like sacks of grain, food, dried meats, things like that. And a horn sort of like kind of like rings out in the town square. And you see as what was a crowd of 150 turns into a crowd of about like 300 people. And Demay looks at all of you. It's like, oh, lovely. Looks like more of them decided to show up over the evening. Well, find yourselves a cart. Everyone is owed 1 sack of grain, 2 pieces of dried meat, and a full satchel of water. And make sure you send them back up to the town registrar's office so we can get their status squared away, make sure they're placed in some of our refugee encampments, and we can get things squared away so we can figure out what actually happened in Ardenvale so we can start fixing the problem. Anyway, if you need me, and there's you see like a little like a stone sort of like desk and plinth area, I'll be over there doing me paperwork. Please, I beg of you, don't get into more trouble. And at this one, she's looking directly at Theodosia as she says it.
I'm not planning on it.
You never do, lass. Anyway, she kind of gives you all a little salute and walks on over, and you see she starts sitting down and doing paperwork. And all of you sort of gather, and you kind of all have a moment, you take a breath, and step towards your stations for distribution. That is where we will end our first episode today. Thank you all so much for joining us for the first episode of Campaign 2 of Dances with Dice. Please follow us on all social medias at Dances with Dice. And when you use the hashtag DWDcast or DWDart, we will use you as future named NPCs in the show. And as always, on all of those socials, you'll be able to find our Discord. So if you want to find a like-minded community for people like yourselves, please join us so you have a place to go for all things Dances with Dice. But until next time, we will see you every single Tuesday for new episodes of Dances with Dice. All right, we're good.
Woo!
Yay.
And that is episode 1.